Hello and welcome to the IGN UK podcast. I'm joined by a slightly poorly Tilly Tots.
Hello, pod people.
Are you feeling any better?
Slightly poorly.
Slightly poorly.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit better. I've just been a bit under the weather. Man flu. You know how it goes.
Oh dear.
But I can't miss a podcast.
No, you can't miss that. So you came off your deathbed.
Yep.
You pulled yourself away from the Chipotle documentary.
That I watched. And I've been listening to my first ever audiobook.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
The Martian, which is being turned into a film with Ridley Scott and Matt Damon.
Who's the narrator? Anyone famous?
No, a guy that does it for a living.
Oh.
He's won awards. He's
pro-
very good.
is it- yeah.
He does accents.
Is it Stuart Reed?
No.
No.
That's the end of that story.
Why did you go for the audiobook rather than the actual book itself?
Because I heard the book was very science heavy,
Right.
And I thought I might enjoy it more listening to it all than I thought I might get quite bored or bogged down reading all
Right.
the sciencey stuff. I thought it might be easier to process listening to it, and it has actually worked that way.
Okay.
It's very dense. It's all about science.
Right.
I'm intrigued to see how they turn it into like an exciting sci-fi movie.
Xenobiology.
There you go.
That's the term.
And Daniel Krupa.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you very
We
much.
haven't podcasted together for
For a long, long
ages.
time. We've got too many people, too many combinations.
Yeah.
Who are we going to vote off the podcast? That's what we-
Maybe
Oh,
we
no.
should do it like I'm a Celebrity or something like that.
I want to be on the podcast. Save me.
Don't let people write and say why they like us and why they don't like us. That would just be miserable reading.
Well, why did you even suggest that?
Oh no, don't do that.
If you want
already
Tilly to be on
happens.
next week's podcast, then write in and tell us why he deserves a place.
Ring this number.
IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com. Apart from being poorly, what else have you been up to, Chris? God, I can't speak.
God,
today.
I haven't even thought. Come back to me. Let me think about what I've been doing.
All right, I'll tell you what I've been up to.
What have you been
Yeah.
up to? What have you been doing?
I've been doing some painting back at home.
Oh, God. I went to White Hart Lane.
Oof. How was that?
God, it's pretty grim
It's
around
not,
there.
it's not great. No,
No, the ground's okay,
but
but
scary.
Of course,
Bit
I would say
scary.
that.
Yeah.
I've been there twice. I went there to see an
Rough.
England game a long time ago
Yeah.
because they haven't played there for a long time. And then it wasn't an NFL, but it was an American football game with whoever. Is it London? The London Headbutters or whatever they're called. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
They're
it was London Monarchs.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Back in the day,
Very
it was
good,
like
yeah.
London Monarchs.
Yeah.
Glasgow Headboat.
But I thought the, whatchamacallem, the people that win the fluorescent coats,
Stewards.
the stewards are very friendly there. Friendliest stewards I've come across.
I heard that the Spurs fans were very, very quiet.
Yeah.
That's from a Spurs fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah.
unbelievable.
Right.
I tweeted that I was asking if they were doing a sponsored silence. It was bizarre. They didn't say a word the whole game.
Wow.
And we sang for the night. Our fans have been very good the last couple of years. Palace fans, that is, if you don't
Yeah.
know who I'm talking about. Yes.
The best fans I've ever had the pleasure of kind of sharing a ground with were Portsmouth fans.
Really? Yeah.
They were like, I forget what game it was, whether it was FA Cup or Premier League. They were like 5-0 down.
Yeah.
And they were singing their hearts out because I was like next to the away fans.
Yeah.
And all you could do was just like, fair play. Like, get into it.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to walk away, you've lost.
And they do that famous chant, don't they? Play on, Pompey,
Yeah.
Pompey, play on.
So Rich Bear Park is a Pompey
I
lad.
could see him through the window.
Can you?
He was, that's why I was laughing. He's
Pompey!
celebrating.
I heard the name of the place where I was born.
He actually never misses a game. He bloody loves
Oh,
football.
what about those Saints though, Rich? Oh, he loves the Saints.
Sorry, when did this turn into the football ramble?
know.
Sorry about that.
How did it turn in? Oh, because
I said I've been to White Hart
I
Lane.
said that I'd been painting walls, and you said that you've been to White Hart. Two very similar things.
And I'm busting through Arrow and Agents of Shield.
So where are you at with Arrow?
I'm coming up to I think I'm on the penultimate episode of the first season.
Oh, so you've still got some way to go.
I have.
Are you on the first season of Marvel?
Yes, and I'm only halfway through the first season.
Right.
I've got a lot of catching up to do.
Making the most of that Amazon Prime subscription, eh, Chris?
That's on Netflix. I'm watching that.
Okay.
And then on
Shield's
Amazon
on
Prime,
Amazon Prime.
I'm watching Constantine. I want to be, for early in the year, I want to be up to date
So
on all the
everything, me
superhero
too.
shows.
Yeah, are you going to watch
There's a
Flash
lot
as
of
well?
Because I think we can do some superhero shows.
I think
on
we
it.
probably should be watching them, to be
I've
honest.
watched them all.
But
There's so many
But how
of them.
can you fit it
Get
all
me
in
on there.
But how can you fit?
That's
It's
what I'm
taking
doing on
so
Monday,
long.
on my day off.
I'm up to speed with Gotham as well.
And which one's the best?
What, out of Arrow, Flash, Gotham?
And
Yeah.
Shield. You've watched Shield as well?
I've watched the first season.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of the second yet.
It's good.
Shield gets better.
Yeah.
Like
I've
the
heard
beginning
season 2 is really good.
Is it? Right, okay. That's my next thing up. So Gotham is definitely the worst. It
Yeah.
gets better as it goes on, but it's still not a patch on. I like Arrow and Flash for two different reasons. The crossover episodes are really good, by the way. But as I've said before, Flash is just kind of light-hearted, a bit like Amazing Spider-Man. Guy enjoying his powers. Arrow's a lot kind of darker.
Yeah.
So they complement each other quite well. But they're both really, really good.
Prefer Arrow slightly?
Only because I've spent more time with it.
Oliver.
And seen, because I was thinking about it, like, there's no real happy endings in that kind of TV show.
No, not at all. Like, I was watching it because I've watched the first episode a couple of times, so I started rewatching it because I wanted to get back into it.
Yeah.
The first episode, like, breaks someone's neck.
Yeah.
Because you see him, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, he kills a lot
wasn't
of people.
expecting this.
Yeah.
He kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird watching, because I was watching this season of Flash and Arrow together and seeing how the two are, and they are completely different
Oh, interesting.
in terms of the way they approach. Well, one has got a proper superpower, the other guy's got a bow.
Yeah.
A six-pack.
Which sounds a bit rubbish,
Six-pack.
but yeah, the way that
He's
I went
badass.
the way that the crossover was done, one episode from the Flash's point of view and one episode from Arrow's point of view.
Yeah.
And it was really well done.
Could we do a podcast superhero show crossover episode?
How would that work?
I don't know. It's just a thought.
But you're on both. You're on both.
Yeah. We need another show.
I'm sometimes on this. Well, I've rarely been. You didn't never invite me on.
You've been on twice,
You've been on
Alex.
twice.
Oh wow! Out of how many episodes?
45.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
We didn't get a huge amount of positive feedback though, so
Yeah, the only person
Traffic
that's
dipped
actually
off.
bothered to watch any superhero TV shows.
Moving on.
And we're off.
Moving on. Oh, the clothes are off.
News?
This week's news. And Krupa, you're up
Yeah,
first.
so there's loads and loads of stuff that came out over the weekend at PlayStation Experience in Vegas, which is to celebrate 20 years of PlayStation. Although during the conference, they kind of implied that it's going to be an annual experience, an annual event, which makes sense. It's basically they've got their own platform to make their own announcements every single year in front of a captive audience that love PlayStation.
So
Which
they
is
used to
perfect for them.
do in Japan. They used to do Nintendo World,
Yeah.
which was called Space World, if I remember rightly. And then they used to do a PlayStation Experience, which I think was in April, because that was the last time I went over to Japan. So April, 2000 or something like that. So a long time ago. So it's interesting that they're resurrecting it and making it a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and a lot of people I know who went over the weekend said that it was their favourite event of the year. So much like positivity and just people who they made some great announcements. They held a lot of stuff back. A lot of people there are obviously PlayStation fans, so you're kind of preaching to the choir. But
Because it was
so they were really
public,
good.
or there was an element of community or public.
Community,
there.
yeah, you can buy tickets and go
Right.
along and make your own way there. Kind of more like a Comic-Con kind of experience, open to the public if you want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
IGN did a panel there, even Beyond had its own panel. So there was like a community stage, there was different areas, you go around playing all the games. If you went around and played all the games, after you say you played, I don't know, Until Dawn, you got an Until Dawn playing card. And if you do every demo there, you walk away with a limited edition pack of PlayStation cards.
What, 52?
52 cards.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and you have to go around collecting them.
Right.
And there was only like, I don't know, X amount of them made.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Rich Burpock could like that for the magic.
Yeah.
So I've been really selective and just picked the two biggest stories. Because I started watching it on Saturday night at 6 o'clock. Said to my girlfriend, let's watch this. It won't be long. It was on for 2 hours, 20 minutes.
It was long. I was kind of following it on the live blog, and I was like,
Yeah.
Last Guardian? Last Guardian.
Yeah, so I'll start off with the news that unfortunately leaked towards the end of last week, which is PlayStation 4.
Well, you say leaks, Capcom put it on their official YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
so kind of an official
it's
leak.
their own fault.
Ubisoft style leak. Street Fighter 5 is a PlayStation 4 and PC exclusive.
And cross-platform play between both.
Yeah, which is amazing. And also, it was a real big franchise aligning with one console. And they talked a little bit more about this because back in Gamescom, Xbox at their press conference announced that Rise of the Tomb Raider was going to be an Xbox exclusive. And then it kind of trickled out in the subsequent hours that it was a timed exclusive and it would be available on PlayStation 4. We still don't know when. 6 months later, a year later, whatever. Yeah. They said in the press conference, Yoshi Ono was there, very unambiguously said PlayStation 4 is the only console you'll ever see Street Fighter 5 on, which is it's a pretty big statement. And it almost sounded like they've been developing
Unless
PlayStation
they're doing
5
like Street Fighter Ultra HD.
Yeah,
remix,
that's
blah,
the
blah,
loophole.
blah.
That's the loophole.
Yeah.
So so on a side note, Ultra Street Fighter 4 is coming to PlayStation 4 as well at the beginning of next year. So it's going to get a big fighting game. Like, it's already got Injustice, but now it's going to get the heavyweight,
Yeah,
Street Fighter. You know, and I think a lot of people, if they've not yet bought a console, next gen console, and they're a big fighting game fan, that's a powerful. You know, I know Xbox One's got Killer Instinct, but
Well, yeah,
one of them,
I wasn't really thinking of
Yeah.
that, but I just, you know, obviously. The fighting market, you know, we talk a lot about the PlayStation memories in the feedback later on, but the fighting market used to be the driver for the original, like PlayStation,
Tekken,
Saturn, all
Virtua
that kind of stuff. Yeah, Virtua Fighter, all that kind of stuff. And now it's kind
It's
of...
having a renaissance.
It has, but it's still, I would say it's super core now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you would buy, well, I certainly wouldn't buy a console based on that. Love Street Fighter, I'm just not very good at it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people who are really into Street Fighter, obviously Street Fighter 4 is the one that they still play all the time.
Yeah.
The fact that that's making the leap, that might be just as persuasive as the idea of Street Fighter 5 maybe coming out one day.
Yeah.
So that's a cool bit of news. The other one was, and this is what opened the press conference, was Bruce Straley took the stage, picked up DualShock 4 and played Uncharted 4 for the first time, and you got to see about 15, 16 minutes. He died. He accidentally... So this guy who's the technical director on the game, he was playing it, and I felt a bit bad for him. He, instead of pressing jump, he let go of a ledge.
He fell through the world.
And the game glitched, and he fell through like the bottom of the world.
Live streaming to the world.
No.
But as soon as that happened,
games of next year.
I actually quite enjoyed that, because it proved that he was playing it live.
Yeah, it's true.
And it wasn't just like smoke and mirrors. He was actually playing it.
Yeah.
So it showed Drake a little bit older. A lot of talk about Drake's bum as well, being a little bit fuller. That's what happens when you get older, I guess.
Do you like that? I wouldn't say my bum's fuller.
Filling out.
Mine is.
Is it?
I get love handles.
What's it full of? Let's not go there.
Collagen.
Let's not go there.
Right. I don't want to go into
And
your
he's
dark
back,
below.
and it looks a bit more like Drake's Fortune, the original, back on a tropical island.
Yeah.
Some new
So it
bits
looks
and
pretty.
pieces. He's got a grappling hook. It looks to me what they're trying to do is Uncharted's really known for its big, spectacular set pieces where everything's blowing up and you're sliding down roofs, etc. And it looks like they're creating these little sandbox environments where you can put together your own cool action sequences on the fly. So there's one bit where he jumps down a mudslide and he's shooting as he's sliding down it, and then he jumps off and uses his grapple hook to swing around the corner. And that's not on rails, that's you doing it. So it's like create your own action set piece, which is really cool.
But I wonder what the alternative to that is, because obviously as he's sliding down, then you get the grapple logo. And then you grapple, and then presumably that makes him swing around automatically. And then is it...
Oh, yeah, that's a little bit.
Are they
That's the
masking
systems.
it up as a...
Well, no,
like,
because you don't have to
essentially-
slide down that bit.
No, you
can
don't.
jump
That
across
is true.
and not use it. So it's like, if you will know what this will create.
Yeah.
But it's there if you want
But
to
it's
use
still...
it. Because he was
Isn't
playing quite
QTE
stealthy as well.
masked, is it?
I think
know
it's
I'm
more
cynical.
interactive than that. Because you're initiating it more. It's not like obligatory.
Yeah, but if you didn't press the button at the right point, then presumably you just fall off the mudslide and die.
Yeah, probably.
Or, you know, I guess, you know, if you're swinging around and you don't hit the punch button at the right time, you'll just land next to him. And you're
Yeah, because he also showed like a bit of more stealth gameplay. The enemies look quite intelligent.
They look very smart, actually.
Yeah, look really
and, like
good.
lots of them. Very combat heavy, actually.
When he was fighting, like the like fisticuff stuff, it looks so good, like so varied. The animations. Is it when he goes like this? When he takes it like a Victorian fighter and he puts on his leotard. Do you not see that bit?
Didn't know.
His
His brother's in it. Nathan Drake's brother.
And he's played by
Voiced
Troy Baker.
He's in everything.
So Troy Baker is everything. So this year he's obviously Joel.
Yeah.
He was Booker in BioShock Infinite last year. He was Batman in Batman Lego.
Yeah.
He's the Joker in Arkham Origins.
Next year he's in Uncharted. He's in Metal Gear.
Oh my god!
That boy's in a lot of games.
I wonder how much
Did you pull it off?
He's a good-looking man, though.
Yeah, he's a good-looking man as well.
It's wasted.
I follow him on Twitter.
So in the Ultimate
Just to
Spider-Man TV series, there's also Loki. He's Hawkeye.
There you go.
Of course, he's Pagan Min in Far Cry 4.
Of course. Very good in that.
He was the main character in Call of Duty this year. He was in Skylanders. He's the main character in Middle Earth: Shadows of Mordor. He was in Infamous.
He's kind of this generation's Nolan North, but now he's playing alongside last generation's Nolan North.
It's like Heat. It's De Niro and Pacino meeting in Heat. That's what it is.
The other voice
Exactly what it
actors
is.
must be a bit annoyed though. There's no gigs left.
There is nothing left.
They'll have to get in the movies, eh?
Yeah.
Anything else from PlayStation Experience?
Lots of bits and bobs, but I think those are the two main key things. Those are really the big headliner things.
Yeah, I think the idea of having a kind of event that's kind of format exclusive is exciting, especially if you've got that much support in terms of, like, if you can hold back those kind of reveals. Absolutely.
Cool. Last week we had... Was it last week? Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've lost my bearings. We had the reveal of the new Terminator trailer, Terminator Genisys. What did you guys think?
Didn't really feel much like a Terminator film to me. It just looked like a blockbuster movie with lots of explosions.
I was rewatching it again this morning, and it's all a bit confusing, really.
It's really confusing.
It's confusing having new actors play old characters,
Like
and then the same
T-1000.
actor play an old character.
Yeah.
That's weird to me.
Yeah.
Like,
it makes it like just messy.
I mean, I don't think you should make a Terminator film without Schwarzenegger, but then by recasting all the other people and him still being the same guy, it's just my head's finding it hard to compute.
And there's like 3 different Arnold Schwarzeneggers in that trailer.
Yeah.
There's his young self.
Yeah.
I think there's a modern robot, and then there's him with grey hair at the end.
Yeah.
That's jumping into the... Have you seen the meme, though, where he jumps into the chopper? He's like, oh, he got to the chopper.
I haven't seen that. But, like, how have they done, like, young Arnie in that?
CG, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Is
It's all,
Is
all
that-
CG.
Looks pretty convincing.
They had that in
They did it-
Salvation.
I was going to say, yeah, it was in the last one.
Oh.
They
I fell asleep during that. That was a terrible film.
Well, interestingly,
McGee.
Christian Bale was asked about this one and whether he was asked to get involved and how Salvation went. And he kind of...
He just punched them.
He said, Salvation didn't work for us. It was a shame, but everything was against us. I knew that we gave it a shot. It didn't work. I know the reasons for that. Wisdom is sometimes knowing when you just need to walk away. I wish them the best. I hope it does work.
It's quite guarded, like...
Was it on the set of Terminator
Yeah,
when he had that
lost it,
meltdown?
yeah.
Oh, that should have been the...
That's the reason.
Right.
So he stood in his eye line.
But equally, like, it just felt like a lot of things I'd seen before, and it didn't look any better. Like, you know, the cop.
The T-1000.
Yeah,
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, except maybe not as interesting looking as Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
'Cause-
But he lopped off his arm and then used it.
threw it in
the
quite-
javelin. When Steve
Yeah,
Brackley.
it's just a slight variation, isn't it? It doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it's 20 years on. And,
It looked like a selection box of the greatest hits.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing. So it seems like it's drawing on the history of Terminator. So all the greatest hits, T-1000, T-800, time travel, Carl Reese, all that stuff. Yeah, it's putting it together in a way that it won't appeal to anyone who likes that old stuff because it seems disrespectful. So it's like, hey, you like all this stuff? Yeah, but we're just going to slam it together. Oh, I don't like that. So there's none of the sensitivity or respect for the people who actually like that stuff.
And the story felt like it had a beginning, a middle, and an end with 1 and 2. And 3 was okay. 3 was like a fun little... whatever. It was a throwaway movie.
Oh, the only thing
minor.
I can remember is him with the coffin.
Yeah.
That's the only
It had a good
thing
ending. It
about
had a
the
really good
entire
ending,
film I can
Terminator
remember.
3. But it's you know, regardless, those 2 movies told the story.
Yeah.
And this just seems to be going back yet again to just mess it all up. And
Yeah, I think Salvation at least had a niche where tell the story of John Connor in the future and had a certain focus to it. Like, that could have been... It's not a bad idea. But then, you know, they've done other things like Sarah Connor Chronicles, and now this just seems like all over the shop.
yeah. Sarah Connor Chronicles.
No, that is good.
It's easy for you two to say.
No, I know that's very well thought of. I've not seen it, but
it is all right.
There's just been a lot more Terminator in the world now.
Yeah.
Just there's nothing coming out of this film that's giving me good feelings because there was the title change, which is super annoying. It's just annoying, that title.
What was the original title? Was it just Terminator?
It was Genesis,
Just
but
Genesis.
spelt
Spelled
correctly.
right.
Yeah.
And then there was the magazine covers with them all
the covers were
shouting.
awful.
I mean, really, I was thinking about
It's gonna
that.
match
So,
me.
like, who said? Like, surely someone along the way, from a magazine editor to the studio to the actors, must have said, "This is ridiculous that we're all going on a magazine cover."
Yeah.
And now this trailer just feels like it's a disaster.
Have you seen all
when
this
it's
conspiracy stuff on the internet about how it looks like it's shot in the Top Gear studio? In that bit where John Connor's addressing them, it looks like he's in the Top Gear studio.
he does, yeah.
But then also, you know, looking backwards to those Entertainment Weekly pictures, it looks like they're on the Top Gear track. So it's like...
It's a good conspiracy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say really. I hope it's okay. I hope it's good, but I'm getting a bad feeling about
Me
this.
too. Well, listeners, if you've watched the trailer and you like it, let us know what you think. IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com. Another big thing that happened over the weekend was obviously the Game Awards. And then, I found this quite surprising, but Nintendo used a platform other than a Nintendo Direct or something to show more of the game. And it was Zelda Wii U, which is obviously one of the kind of biggest games for them next year. but it wasn't shown on the Direct. Anyway, so Miyamoto and some other bloke sat down there, and I can't remember what's his name.
Anuma.
Thank you. Showed off about 5 minutes of Zelda Wii U.
Yeah, and some of the core features.
Showing the gameplay. So they showed the open world and how, as far as you can see, you can make your way there. And I thought it looked pretty pretty.
Well, there's another character confirmed for the new Zelda.
Epona! That's a horse. If you didn't know that, or a pony.
Do you have to say the name like that?
Yeah, that's how you call her in the game.
Epona! Caught our listeners off guard there. So apologies for that.
So they didn't really give away that much, but you if you go past a tree and it's got an apple on it, you can eat the apple.
It was very pretty,
and it does look pretty. The grass looks nice. Different kind of grass compared to Uncharted.
Yeah,
you're seeing some pretty nice foliage.
Yeah, you're really seeing the next gen difference in the foliage.
It's all about the foliage.
Next time you walk past this tree, apple might be growing.
Yeah, I'm going to eat that. Oh, it's sour. Poorly tummy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's basically a game where you go scrumpying. It's mainly scrumping. That's the major mechanic.
But there's other horses other than Epona.
Also, what's good about Epona is she won't let you run into a tree because real horses don't run into trees. It's a very good point. It's a really good point.
I must admit, I've never ridden a horse. I've ridden a camel, but never a horse.
You ride. There are video games where you can. You have to mind the trees.
I didn't bump into a palm tree or
a real horse won't run into a tree. No, it does Epona.
No,
I did like the mechanic where you jump off your horse and everything slows down.
Yeah.
You can use your bow and arrow.
Yeah, so that's
Pretty sweet.
because it's almost like Epona's on auto drive.
Yeah,
so you can do a lot more with the kind of bow and arrow and things like that. So, but again, as a little taster, I thought it looked very nice.
I wonder if they did it just to get just to mix it with the big boys because they knew a lot of. They are a big boy, obviously, but just they usually do their own thing, their own separate thing. Yeah. Everyone's making big announcements. It's almost a flexing of the muscles going.
Coup.
Hey, Zelda, there you go.
That is a hell of a coup for the Game Awards though, to get that exclusively. It's like big stuff.
Do you know what else is big?
Ba-da-ba.
Bond 24.
Yeah.
AKA Spectre.
All in caps.
Spelt in caps. do not spell it without caps,
is that
as we've
right?
been told. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Sony emailed us to tell us. Oh. Dan, look at it's actually almost impossible to remember because it's so ridiculous.
It's like a shield one, isn't it?
Special enforcement.
It's so shoehorned these words together to make the word Spectre.
It's like the first episode of S.H.I.E.L.D., the one that Joss Whedon actually wrote. It's like, what does it stand for? And he goes, what does it stand for? Well, it sounds like someone really wanted our initials to spell shield. Spectre is Special Executive for Counterintelligence, Terrorism, Revenge and Extortion.
See, revenge, terrorism, extortion, and revenge. Is revenge a crime?
It's also getting really pet and extortion.
Yeah.
So they announced the film title. They announced the cast. We got a little bit of a plot. I didn't know I was doing this one, so I didn't print anything out.
You've had a conversation on that.
We have, we talked about it quite a lot.
There's lots of bits and bobs as well.
Yeah, I mean,
new car?
It's just funny. I wasn't at this launch. I was at the launch 2 films ago, and I think this one went better when they uncovered the title, because when I was there, whenever it was 6 years ago, it was Quantum of Solace got announced, and you could just hear a pin drop in the room. And then you could hear just everyone getting their phones out to Google Quantum of Solace because no one knew what it meant.
What is that? Yeah.
So I think Spectre is a really good title, and obviously it means that Spectre is going to be coming back because they weren't allowed to use the organisation because of a court case because someone else owned the rights. You know, the weird stuff that happened when Never Say Never Again got made. That was settled last year, and so they can now bring Spectre back into the Bond universe. Yeah. So it's quite nice the way with Daniel Craig, they've slowly but surely brought all the old elements back as they've gone along.
Because Quantum was kind of the makeshift Spectre.
Yeah.
Because they were setting up this kind of, in Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, this nefarious, shadowy organisation behind official government pulling the strings and stuff like that. There's the Mr. White character who's associated with them. The Chief was kind of associated with them. Dominic, whatever he's called in Quantum of Solace was. So now it feels like they can give it a legitimate name. Although I saw Sam Mendes said Spectre might not mean exactly what you're expecting it to mean.
And is it Mr. White's going to be in this one?
Yeah, he's going to be in it as well.
But so we've got our villain as well. It's Christoph Waltz. It was notable that Sam Mendes didn't say his character name, although they've given us his character name, and it's not Blofeld.
No.
It's a character that's briefly shown up in the books and was like kind of a mentor to
Oberhauser
Bond.
or something like that, yeah.
And so there's a question mark whether it's this same mentor who taught him to ski or whether it's his son.
Sorry. Of all of his skills, ski.
Well, I think there's going to be skiing in this
Yeah.
one. They're shooting all around Austria, so I think we're going to get a big skiing action
Which is
sequence.
very traditional Bond.
Old school, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be cool, isn't it?
But the rumours, of course, are that Waltz is playing Blofeld.
Yeah.
We've got Dave Bautista's in it, which we're really excited about because we
Jinx.
love him. Hinks.
Is it Hinks?
Jinx was Halle Berry, I think.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Because I thought that's weird that they're so similar. He's
You're
Mr.
right,
Hinks.
you're right.
So looking to be
Henchman,
a proper
yeah.
hardcore henchman. We've not had one of them for a while.
Yeah.
He has very interesting
Jaws-like.
facial hair he's grown. He's grown this unique beard. So there you go. Insight.
There you go.
Andrew Scott's in it,
Yeah.
who is working for MI6. You know Andrew Scott?
No.
A.K.A. Moriarty from Sherlock.
Oh yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the cast lineup. Yeah.
And so everyone's saying, oh, he must be a baddie, you know,
Yeah.
he must be on. But it's only because he plays Moriarty.
He's great as Moriarty there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's way over the top, but
Yeah.
it works.
I like that.
Yeah. And then we got our new Bond girls.
Yeah. Bond ladies.
What's her name?
Monica Bellucci.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Monica
yeah,
Bellucci,
sorry.
who's the eldest ever Bond
Yeah.
Bond girl at 50. Looking cracking, though.
I don't know who the other girl is.
She's the girl from Blue is the Warmest Colour, which was a big hit this year. She's been in lots of bits and pieces, but I forget her name. She's a French actress. Begins with an L. I should have prepped more. So yeah.
And the car, a DB10. Aston
Yep.
Martin DB10.
Yep.
Looks kind of like a DB9, but a bit kind of curvier.
Yeah, so they're keeping it classic. Obviously, all the old people are returning. So we've got M, the new M. We've got Moneypenny.
Yeah.
Q. So yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for it.
When's it coming out?
Next October.
So it's
it's a really
they've
tight
just started
turnaround.
shooting, haven't
Yeah, they started
I saw
shooting
the
on
pictures.
Monday.
Yeah, at Pinewood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really tight turnaround, but I'm jazzed for this one.
There's some big films coming out next Christmas.
Yeah.
With just all of next year.
Yeah.
Like Avengers.
Yeah.
Well, it's big to get $1 billion movie in a year, and next year there could be 4 of them. I think.
What are you for?
I think Star Wars, Avengers, Bond,
Jurassic
and
World?
potentially Jurassic World. Yeah.
Yeah, depending on word of mouth. She's called Leia Seydoux. She's playing Madeline Swan.
Madeline Swan.
There you go.
Cool. Exciting times for Bond fans.
Exciting times indeed. So the talking point this week was it's off the back of the Street Fighter news, and obviously it's exclusive to PlayStation. And then Microsoft came out this week and clarified around Tomb Raider, saying that they're actually publishing the Rise of the Tomb Raider. So yeah, there was talk about it being a timed exclusive, but if they're becoming publishers, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I guess, Square could still do a Game of the Year edition on PlayStation, but I think it raises the question, and also with movies, you don't really see it exclusive to kind of particular formats. But who is actually good for exclusivity? I guess it's good for PlayStation with Street Fighter, but then it's not good for PlayStation because they haven't got Tomb Raider. And ultimately, the thing with the audience is that unless you're going to buy both consoles, you can't buy everything. And I think that's a bit of a shame. Did it actually happen with like Blu-ray and HD DVD? Were certain films exclusive to certain formats?
Jeez, not that I can remember. But back in the days with the old consoles, though, you'd have to have a Sega and a Nintendo to get all the games you wanted.
Well, you get first-party exclusives, so games that are made by Nintendo, games that are made by Sony. That's never going to change. But it's the kind of third-party developers who have traditionally developed. Well, for them, it's about getting their game on as many different formats as possible, because the greater the exposure, the more money. But now the trade-off is becoming like Sony or Microsoft is giving them a ton of cash, saying, "We'll give you this money to make up for the sales you would have had on the other format, but you've got to make it exclusive to our platform."
And it's just the security of having that guaranteed dosh that
Yeah.
they're committing to it. Because, doing a game's a risky venture.
Yeah.
It might not take exactly what you hope, but if you get someone like Sony saying, you've got this guaranteed in the bank,
Yeah.
it's very hard to turn that down and take the risk that it might bomb.
Yeah. And, I think Tomb Raider's a big game. Street Fighter's a big game, but where next? Like, would you ever? I can't imagine it happening. But like something like Rockstar and GTA, if that was exclusive to a platform, that in my eyes is a true system seller. I'm still not 100% convinced that people will go and buy a brand new console just to play Street Fighter or just to play
Tomb Raider.
What if FIFA went with one system and PES went with another?
Yeah, well, actually, on the spectrum, there's...
Yeah, I think that's a bit unfair because FIFA is the kind of the all-dominant powerhouse. But already, like, the ultimate FIFA experience is on Xbox, because you get all of the Legend stuff and all this additional bits and pieces, but it's not exclusive.
There's a spectrum, isn't there, that exists? There's a spectrum of exclusivity, because the word exclusive, working in media and stuff, you know that word means lots of different things,
or nothing.
It means nothing. There's things that are real exclusives, there are things that are kind of disingenuous exclusive. So on the spectrum, on one end of the scale, you've got something that is absolutely exclusive, and that's what it sounds like Street Fighter 5 is on PS4. Yes, it's on PC, but in terms of console exclusivity. And then you've got things where you get like additional missions. So Arkham Knight, the new Batman game, you get Scarecrow missions, and that's exclusive on PS4. But at the same time, it's like a little bit extra. It's maybe just a sweetener that if you're a PlayStation fan and you're a Batman fan, hey, we're going to give you a little bit extra. It creates loyalty maybe to PlayStation. It ticks some of your boxes. But I don't think that matters. It's like if you're an Xbox owner, you're still going to get Arkham Knight.
And cause it's the same with Far Cry. I'm playing that.
That's
got bonus stuff on PS4, but I couldn't tell you what the heck it is.
I think it's like a few guns and the keys to crack if you want to let your friends play with you. But a lot of that stuff, the kind of extra stuff, unless you're like really obsessed about a game and you just love it and you need everything in that game, to me that would never really sway me one way or the other. It's the core experience, and the people making the game, if they're choosing to go with both platforms, they're not going to make you have that much less of an experience, because that just hurts them in the long run. Because if they cut out a big section of Assassin's Creed, you might not buy the next Assassin's Creed.
It'd be like, I don't know, somebody sells a book, and if you buy the digital edition, you get all the chapters. If you buy the paperback, like the last chapter's missing or something like that. It's just, it would never happen. And I think, so it's always a kind of a secondary additional content. But I think, with this move, with some bigger games now being signed to specific platforms, I do think it's going to be a trend that we see more of. But I'm just not necessarily sure it's a particularly good thing.
Yeah, so there's exclusivity for to buy. You can buy an exclusive. And then there's the other type of exclusive, which is first-party exclusive, which is... It's a different thing. Like, so if you look at Nintendo exclusivity, that's literally because they're making their own games and they know their platform, and it's actually results in great games. I think that's less kind of, there's less to critique about that. Because if they were working across Xbox and PlayStation, there's an argument to be made their games wouldn't be as good. Because you're developing for all these different systems, trying to keep everyone happy. They have such a tight, it's like that Apple setup, where they know their hardware, they know their software, and they can make the two blend perfectly.
Well, I guess it's been happening for a while, because if you look at like Rare, obviously used to do all the games on Nintendo, and then Microsoft bought them, and that's effectively doing the same thing. You're buying that exclusivity, but rather than buying the product, you're buying the people that made the product, and it's like, actually you can only make games for us now. What would be the one kind of game that would make you go and buy a console? What's the kind of game changer for you that you just think, actually, if you didn't have both already?
I think Nintendo stuff.
Was it?
Like, there's no other reason for me to own a Wii U.
Yeah.
And it's simply because Nintendo make incredible games, and you can't play them anywhere else. That's it. Like, even if I only play Mario Kart, 3D Mario World, and Zelda on my Wii U, yes, it's a lot of money, but I bought mine right at the beginning. But even like, you could get at the tail end of its cycle for like 150 quid with all those games. That would make me buy a Wii U.
Yeah.
I think you get into that point with the Wii U. I mean, we've seen it in comments and feedback we get into the podcast. People are going out and buying them. I've seen it on my Facebook feed of my friends are buying Wii U's, because it's got to the point where the price has dipped enough, and there's now enough games. It's hit a tipping point where it's like, wow, we can get all this good stuff.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Like this time last year, it didn't have quite enough to make you go and get it. But again, so little of that is actual third party, apart from Bayonetta.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only one that really sticks in my mind, is the kind of
that's
biggest.
Exclusive as well.
Yeah, I know. But that's as a non-first party developer.
What about you, Alex? What game?
Well, there are many, obviously. Like in terms of franchises, Metal Gear, because that it wasn't traditionally a PlayStation exclusive, but it was the only console you got it on initially, and then it came out on Xbox later as like Substance, different versions, and Metal Gear's kind of always aligned with Sony, but if it was only available on Sony, that would be definitely a selling point for me. GTA.
Yeah.
Those are kind of my two, probably lots of other games that I like.
Sure.
But those as third-party games, I would go for those.
Interesting.
Yeah. What about you, listeners? Do let us know what your thoughts are on exclusivity. Do you think it's a good thing, or do you think it's a bad thing? Let us know why, and what are the games that you would like to, that would make you go and buy a console just for that. IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com. Feedback. I've got the first piece of feedback, and it's from Alex Burrows. So we got loads of feedback. Last week we discussed its 20th anniversary of PlayStation. We shared some of our PlayStation memories, so we've got a lot of feedback around that. Alex Burrows says his best memory has to be as a 5-year-old him breaking a controller over those weird egg-holding things in the first Spyro in 2003. Now, I hated Spyro, so I don't know what he's talking about in terms of weird egg-holding thing. But apparently he went through it all again when he bought the same game on Vita last year.
Nice to reminisce. Of
nice to
eggs.
know that you just keep on going back and hating stuff.
Elliot Rogers, friend of the podcast, says, I remember opening a PlayStation 1 for Christmas. The first game I got was Crash Bandicoot 2, along with a demo disc which featured a T-Rex tech demo, Hercules, and Abe's Odyssey.
Do you remember the T-Rex tech demo?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
All it was a T-Rex head, and you could do things with it. It was just like, this is amazing. It's like a
I bet if you go back,
ringing a bell.
It's like
of
a
course
box.
it is.
It's a box.
But at the time, it was like, it's Jurassic Park on my telly.
My fondest gaming memory, however, was Easter Sunday in the year 2000. My parents sat me and my brother down and gave us a present, as if chocolate eggs were not enough to make a 9-year-old happy. We opened it with glee, but were immediately heartbroken. We said, sorry, Mum and Dad, this is Ridge Racer 5 for PlayStation 2, but we have a PlayStation 1. My mum replied saying, oh dear, you better have this then, as she pulled out a PS2 from under the bed. We couldn't believe it.
They couldn't believe it.
That's an amazing story.
14 years later, I'm now working in digital content for PlayStation in London, so I'm sure to have plenty more memories to come.
So, a PS2 for an Easter present? Oh
Easter.
my God.
Easter.
You are the luckiest man alive, Elliot Rogers.
But I love the delivery as well.
I know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You got some cool folks, Elliot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one.
I think I used to get a $5 because I'm not particularly, although I do like chocolate now, but when I was a kid, never really used to get eggs. It used to be a $5 from my mum, dad, and $5 from my gran. That was it.
Yeah.
Can't buy a PS2 with them.
No, I used to get an egg.
I used to get an egg,
Traditional.
Console. Right, I'm up in my game next year.
I used to go to church, so yeah, I was boring. This is from Stu Gray. He said, I had a PlayStation with the component at the back, which Sony later dropped. After 5 years, I took my PlayStation to some bloke in Chinatown and got it chipped. He was amazed it still worked. Still works now.
Yeah. So like obviously he talks a lot about his other memories, but I do, the whole chipping scene.
Chipping thing was huge when I was...
Yeah. Well, I remember on what was it, SNES?
Yeah.
But it was this kind of cartridge adapter.
Yeah,
Because
that's
it was plastic bits on the SNES that stopped US from working on UK. So you either used to saw the cartridges or had this adapter thing.
They all had adapters back in the day, didn't they? I'm sure the Mega Drive had an adapter as well.
Yeah.
It was all adapter based.
Or action replays. You remember action replays?
I do.
Yeah.
Kind of like memory cards that you used to plug in and do kind of weird
Big
shit with.
time.
But yeah, because I was talking about the pen trick last week, and that was the kind of a better.
There was a
version
guy that
of-
used to come around my cousin's house and open the boot of his car, and he used to rent games, like hooky games.
There you go.
Yeah, we used to run down the stairs when I was staying over at my cousin's house every other Thursday.
You monster.
And he's like, he's here, run downstairs. Go, can we have this one? And we just run back up to his room and just play them all night.
So
Brilliant.
He had a dodgy PlayStation.
No, actually, I think it was this guy just renting.
Oh, it was legit
He
copies.
did have a chip PlayStation as well, but this was actually legit. He was renting them for £2 for
I've never
a day.
had a chipped console in my life.
Nah, me neither.
I never.
Feels too illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stu also says, remember black CDs?
Yeah.
For PlayStation games. Oh, yeah.
I love black. We
I was going to say, it was last week's...
we spoke quite a lot about black CDs.
Well, too much. You said it too often.
This email is from Rob Bass, like the fish. That's what he says. So it's not Rob Bass, all about the bass. My PlayStation memory will be...
all about the bass.
will always be finishing football on a Saturday morning, going to the local shop with my dad to buy the newest PlayStation magazine to get a free demo. Free demos were great.
Free
Well,
demos
they weren't
were-
because you spent £6 on a magazine.
I used to have free demo discs from my Amiga that had hundreds of
Oh,
games
no,
on
it
it.
was
I used to play them for all
They were
day.
amazing.
All
It
day.
was genuinely useful, though, wasn't it?
Like I worked on a PC mag quite a long time ago, and because Doom was a big thing, that's how Doom kind of became. It was shareware, so it went on everything, and we gave away a copy of Doom, and like 1,000 different maps and skins, and out of all of them, one of them had hardcore pornography as its kind of textures. So you'd be running around the level and like all kinds of stuff would be happening. But I felt sorry for the poor guy whose job it was to compile that disc, because you can't go and check everything. And obviously he didn't. But yeah, it got pulled from the shelves.
Like, all kinds of things are happening.
That's very funny.
Yeah, well, obviously, I can't remember if it was animated or not, but anyway.
I told the story, didn't I, about when my magazine, my first job, the magazine got pulled from the shelves.
Why did it get pulled?
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind came out, George Clooney's directorial debut.
Yeah.
And one of my colleagues, he did an interview with Sam Rockwell. It was Sam Rockwell's first big role. And he was talking to him about the training he did in the preparation. And he met with CIA assassins pretty much, who taught him how you could take someone down with doing certain things, or with a knife, the easiest and quickest way to kill someone. And so as a sidebar in the magazine, in that feature, Tom wrote a little piece, how to F someone up with a knife, and with diagrams of how to do it. And yes, Smiths pulled it from the shelves and the magazine nearly went under.
There you go.
He freelances for us now these days.
I guess
by the way, that guy.
That's when Smiths had some kind of clout on the high street.
Yeah,
Smiths is a sad shop these days.
Do you want a Toblerone?
It's miserable, isn't it?
Do you want a meter of Toblerone? Do you want it? No.
I go in there once a year to buy my little black diary that everyone takes the mick out of me for having, but it's the only place to sell them because no one uses them anymore.
It is a sad place, isn't it?
I do, yeah.
Anyway, let's not lament Smiths right now.
Self-service at a Smiths.
Oh.
And you catch yourself a reflection in the screen.
You used to go in there to buy games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to get all my Amiga games from Smiths.
I was actually in a Smiths on Saturday, because there's one in the town where I live. And there's a toy bit downstairs, but it's so rubbish.
Yeah.
And because I've been trying to get this Lego stuff for Scarlett, and it's
it's like a crummy newsagent that you used to go to.
Yeah.
Smiths would be like the cool stuff would be in Smiths, and then the newsagent would have all the crummy plastic stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's there.
But it was terribly expensive. Well, it is terribly expensive, and the selection is
It's
terrible.
really expensive.
Yeah.
Bad times.
Oh.
PlayStation memories from Neil from Leicester, who gives us a little list here. He says, trying to figure out what the hell Descent and Toshinden were all about with my underdeveloped prepubescent mind.
See, I remember Toshinden. It was a bit like Tekken. Descent rings a bell, but I can't really remember that much about it.
Mastering Lee's moves in Tekken 2.
Yep, he was my favourite character.
Causing ridiculous crashes in Formula 1.
Never liked Formula 1.
Realising...
Pissing all over his memories.
Neil, you're going to get judged on each one of these now. Realising how utterly bad Adidas Power Soccer and Actua Golf were.
See, Actua Soccer was quite good, if I remember rightly.
He hasn't put Actua Soccer here.
No, I know he hasn't. I can't remember which one Adidas Power Soccer is. Don't know.
Trying to get as far as possible in Die Hard Trilogy.
Die Hard Trilogy. That's a good game.
And
did a magazine with that on the front cover with the digital Bruce. What's his face?
Bruce Willis.
Couldn't remember his name. Thank you. Yeah.
Finished.
Yep.
And then finally, coming back to looping back round, being fascinated by the dinosaur tech demo.
I've actually got it up on YouTube.
Okay.
It looks pretty impressive. It's much better than I was thinking it was going to be.
You know, this is an audio podcast.
Yeah, I know, but we're
going to sit here watching a video.
I'll let it play.
How long does it last?
3 minutes and 3 minutes.
I'll cut to the chase. So you just see him looking.
Oh yeah,
it just kind of walks along.
Pretty good.
It is quite good.
If I remember rightly, you could rotate the camera around it.
See? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Jurassic Park.
Because it's probably not powering anything else.
No.
Pretty cool.
Good.
And if you want to,
his eyes are a bit.
You want to watch that? You can Google it and watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. You can find that yourself. Next email is from Arjun. So first of all, thank you for the birthday wishes. Really made my day on the drive home for work. I guess we wished him happy birthday.
We did, and they also did it on the Duck Hunt Facebook page. Yeah.
Awesome. So he says, my first home console was the PlayStation, and I'm actually young. Got a console when he was 3.
Playing when he was 3.
Natural born gamer.
That's frightening.
Games. So Tony realising he had no balance.
Yeah, so how old was I? Probably around 25, 26. My brother bought me a Bomberman skateboard, and I thought, I can do the skateboarding thing. Had a bit of a tumble.
It's quite boring skateboarding.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Broke my wrist the day after watching Back to the Future for the first time.
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't hold onto a car, held onto my mate's bike going quite slowly.
Right.
Didn't work.
It's a good job you started off with bike then and didn't go straight for car.
Straight for car. I wasn't an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, even like Scarlett stood on one in the toy shop, just straight on and went straight like that. It's just like, these are ridiculous.
Designed to parrot you.
Ban this sick filth. Forget video games.
Skateboards, dangerous. Crash Bandicoot 3 is possibly the reason he loves platforms so much. Tomb Raider 3 as well. I remember locking the butler in the fridge.
I thought this is so weird, this bit. It's like, I don't remember that from Tomb Raider, but...
Well, games are what you make of them.
Yes.
I remember locking the butler in the fridge and printing off guides how to get into the secret room in the attic in Lara's house, which I only remember doing once. And he's listed loads of other games, but those are the highlights. Thank you, Arjun.
Jake Harrington writes in saying, my memory is from the big old PS2. He'd play it every day when I got home from school, mostly Star Wars Battlefront 2, and he loved it and was trying to get through the story. But he didn't have a memory card. So, obviously, every time you switch the machine off... I can't remember how much they were, but I remember having a stack of them. But anyway, so to combat that, he would leave the console on 24 hours a day. But after a short while, the console died on him, so he lost all of his progress in his favourite game of all time.
That's not the happiest memory.
It's a memory. You didn't say it had to be happy.
Alex just said, they were quite expensive. Yeah, I don't remember. I remember having a stack of them. I just remember having a massive stack of them.
It's like business cards.
I've got one from Connor who says, thinking about my best PlayStation memories, one that clearly stands out is Spyro, Year of the Dragon. It's a game which I would certainly say is my favourite game of all time and finished to 114%. Brackets, yes, 114%, end brackets. What games have you personally explored every last crevice of?
Well, recently, I think the game, because obviously, I think back in the day, doing 100%, like we were saying, if you finished a game, that was the end of it. There was nothing else to do. But these days, you've got to do a lot more. The amount of side stuff there is in Far Cry is just ridiculous. But the first Assassin's Creed, I 100%ed. And got
it's a lot of collectibles and
yeah.
Are you doing the side stuff because it's fun or because you feel like you want to have done every bit of the game?
Well, back then with Assassin's Creed, I just don't think I had anything else to do, and there are very few games that I've actually got 1,000 gamer points on Xbox 360. That was one of them. So apart from the cheap ones where you only have to play for 3 minutes to get them.
And some games approach that stuff in a very cynical way. It's like padding, where you'll zip through the story and it's like, oh, you've only done 40%. And the other 60% is collect every single little tiny thing. Yeah. And there's not just one collectible, there's 5. Yeah. So it's a feather, it's this and that. It's come on, you're never going to get... I can never summon the energy to do that.
I'm a bit over Far Cry's stuff, because you liberate a new base and you walk in there and all I want is a brand new shotgun. You got some guy snivelling in the corner saying that his bloody mother has just been kidnapped, going to go and rescue him. It's like... Went to the last outpost and his mother had been kidnapped as well. So, Jesus, you lot need to be a bit better at looking after your family.
Well, it's all about the base.
It's all about the base.
100% did Red Dead Redemption.
Did you?
Yeah, I did all the hunting challenges and that and everything.
Yeah, so in Far Cry 3, I did all of the kind of, obviously, outpost liberation, bell towers, hunting stuff. But this, Far Cry, you've got, you can go back and replay outposts to kind of do them undetected. I'm not going to do all that. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, Assassin's Creed.
So, final email is from Daryl Sharp. He said, listening to Rory struggling with my email again once just wasn't enough. One of the highlights of the year for me, nearly eclipsing me on the Jared Butler Google chat with the hard hat on. Do you remember that?
Yes, I can't forget it. I was hosting.
Thinking more about the Highlander music, and what are your thoughts about Foo Fighters? If they're interested, maybe they could do some Queen covers when they play Wembley in June next year. What's this in relation to? I've missed a few podcasts.
So it's Highlander.
Okay. Yeah.
Rory couldn't say MacLeod.
Okay.
He said MacLeod.
Right.
Okay.
And then we were talking about which bands, because obviously there's a Highlander remake coming.
Yeah.
Which band would we like to see doing the tunes feature?
Well, interestingly, 2 years ago, I interviewed the director who was going to be doing it.
Yep.
And he said he would use Queen songs. But he's no longer directing it, so that might that might change now. Muse.
So Muse was the one that we said back then. Yeah. They're always the band that you roll out for doing.
They're just epic, aren't they?
But they're also a little bit rubbish these days.
But also Queen, they do gigs with that guy from Free, Paul. What's he called?
Don't know.
And they also do gigs with that that guy that won like
America's Got Talent.
Yeah. He came out not long ago. He's got an amazing voice.
Yeah, like
Adam something or other.
Adam West.
No,
I don't know. But we don't know the names of either of them. But anyway, not Freddie Mercury.
Divine Adam.
Stop it.
So yeah, they could do it. Queen could do it.
Is it the same impact?
No.
If you want Freddie,
you do. They could write. What about Queen writing new songs? They're getting Brian May to write some new tunes.
I don't really know how much was the writing setup of Queen. It was a combination of Freddie and Brian May, wasn't it?
Certainly, I think Brian May wrote Who Wants to Live Forever, and I think he wrote Flash as well. Obviously, different film, but
yeah.
I think he wrote them himself.
Lyrics as well.
I'm not
I
sure.
always thought of Freddie as the
lyricist,
but I'm not.
Yeah.
We're talking about a lot of stuff we
We
don't know anything
much about.
Foo Fighters.
There you go.
Foo Fighters
Dead
playing
roll.
Queen songs at Wembley in the summer.
Foo Fighters sounds good. Yeah,
Perfect.
What's out this week, Al?
Out this week, Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. 8.1? Did we give it?
We gave it. I believe so.
8.1. So Luke played at Gamescom and said it's a Lara fun.
He says everything. He loves it. 8.1. Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris is an excellent action puzzler adventure, whether you play solo or in co-op. That's our summary of the game.
Yeah. So if I remember rightly, like the co-op is obviously you're supposed to play it, helping each other out.
Couch.
But half the fun is just like dicking your mates over. So.
Yeah.
Also, the Talos Principle. I don't actually know what that is.
Talos Principle is a PC game. It's kind of quite a heavy, heady philosophical puzzle game on PC.
Yep.
We gave it 8.3, saying it's great, saying it includes excellent puzzles and heady philosophy, but stumbles where the two intersect. Ooh. Puzzles, basically, the story stuff and the puzzles don't really make much sense together. But taken separately, great.
Nice. Movies?
Adam Lambert.
Yeah. Is he out this week?
No, he came out a while ago. And Paul Rogers.
Good.
Yes, I refer you to last week's podcast. So the devil, not the devil, the Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies is out. I don't know. I'm not with it today.
Right.
Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies is out this week.
So that was your recommendation to go and watch last week, even though it wasn't out.
Yeah, and I also recommended Paddington last week, which wasn't out last week.
Good
The
work.
week before. So yeah, I mean, has anyone else around this table seen it at this point?
You've seen it, haven't you?
Hobbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it?
Sorry with you.
Sorry with me.
Cheers,
Go on,
Chris.
you talk about it, because I
Cheers, Chris.
talked about it last week.
So not an original observation, but that book did not need to be 3 movies.
Right.
And I think more than anything, not as it's spread thin, because there's a lot of stuff to do and cover and make into things. I just think dramatically the beats are all off. To open this film with your big dramatic moment from the end of the last film, which is Smoke heading towards Lake Town, and that is your prologue, it just feels wasted. It's this great cinematic moment, and the kind of the weightiness of that stuff comes too early in the movie. You're not kind of like settled in and not eased into the movie yet, so you're having these like big moments, and it's kind of a bit squandered.
I just how can you shoot 6 films about Lord of the Rings and still not have Tom Bombadil in it? That's what I want to know.
Oh.
Never going to make it.
Well,
into the big screen.
that gives Peter Jackson room to return for another trilogy.
Good,
the Bombadil trilogy.
I cannot wait for that offshoot.
My God, how many years have you been making that joke on this podcast?
I'm going to keep on rolling it out. You never know, it might make it into the extended editions.
Yeah, it might not. I think I gave it 7.5, but I don't know. It's incredible spectacle. But I felt like I'd seen it all before.
Yeah,
an hour-long battle. They've done that.
I'm
And
still
done it really well.
The fights have to like outdo the last fight.
Yeah, of course.
So they become more and more elaborate. Yeah. Like it goes on for a bit longer. More crazy stuff happens. And it's
we might be being too negative here, but I just feel like we're just a bit tired of it at this point.
But I've definitely got like combat fatigue. The idea of seeing big battles is like, okay, I get it. Because so many films do that.
It's not a bad film, but I think when I put all these Lord of the Rings films, if I was going to rank them, I think the 3 Hobbit films would be the bottom 3, and this might be my least favourite.
I thought you were going to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No.
I can't do that with my fingers.
No. But this trilogy, I don't think any of them has been as good as the original trilogy, and this one, it's just average.
And that's it for this week's podcast. Thank you for listening, as always. We are coming up to the end of 2014. So I think we've got 3 more podcasts to do.
We've got a lot to record.
So yeah, we'll be doing a couple of specials on, best of 2014, looking ahead to what's happening next year. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, maybe start writing in your favourite shows, games.
What are you looking forward to as
movies.
well?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All that.
So until next time, see you later.
Bye-bye. Cheerio. Duck hunt.